Hey, happy Friday, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the SEO video show. It's a lovely day here in the Bay Area. It's about 80 degrees outside. Got me wearing a t-shirt. How's everyone doing outside? Today's topics, we'll be talking about some ranking factors that have been tested, affiliate SEO, and rank and sell websites. This is going to be a good one, guys. Today's topics: SEO ranking factors, affiliate SEO, rank and sell websites with Lee Witcher. Don't be shy, guys. Say hi in the live chat. David Bayo from Arizona. What's up, my man? Bobby, my man. Happy Friday. Man, Carnival and Rio de Janeiro sounds fun, man. I love to party. Today's topics, we'll be talking about tested SEO ranking factors with Lee Witcher, along with affiliate SEO, rank and sell websites. Are you still in Brazil, Hobby? Ethan from Denver. What's up, my man? See a bunch of you out there. Don't be shy, guys. Say hi. Nice, Hobby, nice. Stefan, happy Friday. Today's topics, we'll be talking about SEO ranking factors, affiliate SEO, rank and sell websites. Get your questions ready. David, Bio, is it over like 90 degrees down in Arizona right now? I mean, if it's 80 out here in California in the Bay, I'm pretty sure it's a lot hotter out there. Lee, I see you in the back room. Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you at all, man.
Happy Friday, brother.
Happy Friday to you.
All right. We got people already talking in the chat. They're excited to see you. And so I'll be doing like, my first 4 videos I kind of find over the past week, and then I'll be introducing you in. Yep.
Cool. I don't see anything in the chat. Maybe I'm just not you, or...
Oh, no, maybe you have to go on... If you go on YouTube, you can have to go on YouTube chat.
Oh, I gotta go on YouTube.
Yeah. But make sure you're on mute. David Bio, 90 right now. That's hot. Woo. Andrew Dillon, what's up, dog? Carol Fry, what's up, girl? Lucy, happy Friday, fellas. Hello. Hi, Dre and Lee from Kobe. What's up, my man? All right, guys. Don't be shy. Say hi in the live chat. We got about 3 more minutes to go. Lee's in the back room getting things set up. Today's topics, we'll be talking about tested SEO ranking factors, affiliate SEO, and rank and sell websites.
Bam.
Oh, yeah. What's the weather like where you're at, Lee? You're wearing a sweater. It's hot where I'm at.
Today it's a little cool. It's going to be only about almost 60 degrees here today, and tomorrow it's going to be like 80.
Oh, man. Yeah, we got 90 degrees out in Arizona. People are telling us 80 degrees out here in California. Don't be shy, guys. Say hi in live chat. Lee Witcher's in the chat. What's up, y'all? Don't be shy, guys. Say hi in live chat.
I'm gonna get undressed for you.
Oh yeah, there you go. Love it.
There we go.
Happy Friday, y'all. Lee's in the back room, getting comfortable, drinking his water. He's ready. Brian, what's up, my man? All right, guys, we got about 1 more minute to go. Get your shout outs in live chat. We got a good one today. Lee Witcher. We're going to be talking about SEO ranking factors, affiliate SEO, rank and sell websites. All right, we have INFP Jeremy going to fly a kite with the kids, but looking forward to the replay. Bradley Burney, what's up from Canada? SEO strip show? I don't know. Well, I'm wearing a t-shirt today. I usually wear a hoodie, but let me get things ready here.
Yeah, I took off my hoodie for you.
Yeah. Hey, time to get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is the founder of TestedSEOtraining.com, Lee Witcher. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Matthias, Lee, David, Bradley, Jeremy, Brian, David, so much more. Thank you all for coming by. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
This is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. Why did Tiger Woods start studying SEO? To get his #1 ranking back.
All right, guys. First one, Multisearch was just actually released this week. A new way Google Lens can search using both images and text. For example, if you find the perfect dress but want to know see in a different color, all you gotta do is use a photo of it and type in the color you want, and Multisearch combines both to bring you back helpful information. All right, let's go into what John Mueller had to say today. He says, "Why don't JS pages get cached in Google?" John Mueller, tell us why.
Google Search sometimes keeps a copy of the HTML page that was fetched from a server and shows that to users in the form of a cached page. That is, however, really just the HTML page. For JavaScript-based websites, it gets a little bit complicated here. Because of browser security, there are restrictions on how content can be accessed from a page. For example, if a page needs a JavaScript file from your server, browsers may block that request when it comes from other websites. In our case, the other website would be Google's cache. In practice, this means JavaScript-based websites often show an empty or an incomplete page when they're shown from Google's cache. This is normal and not a sign of a problem. In particular, for indexing, Google will process the JavaScript separately and try to index what a user would see when they visit your website directly. This rendered version of a page is visible in Google Search Console's testing tools if you want to double check. For the most part, Google can render and index content on JavaScript-based websites fine. So, in short, it's normal that the cached view of a JavaScript website is empty or incomplete. That's not an indication of a problem. It's just a technical restriction in browsers.
All right, if you haven't known, Google Search Central has a playlist with Martin Splitt for more JavaScript SEO. The link is in the description. This week, Ross Simmons put out a video on where you should start when creating a content strategy. Let's check it out.
If you're going to create a content strategy, it has to be rooted in deep research. Research surrounding the people that you're trying to connect with, which starts with customer research. So you need to think about who it is you're trying to connect with, who it is you're going to sell to, and you have to get inside of their head. You can ideally do that by talking to them. You can ideally do that by listening to old sales calls. You can do that by looking through your frequently asked questions. You can do that by diving into the customer support questionnaires and documentation that has been received by your customer success team, your customer support team, and look at the things that they're often talking about and the problems that they're often having. You want to dive deep into understanding your customer. You want to look at review sites and start to reverse engineer the things that your competitors are being talked about as being their biggest benefits. What are the pain points that people are talking about your competitive products solving? What pain points do they talk about for your product solving? And what pain points do they say that your product creates? All of these things are going to give you insights into your customer and into the types of content, the assets that you should be creating.
Audience research is a must for any marketing activity. I mean, the first thing I do when I first join a company is I ask for the buyer persona docs and use a tool like SparkToro. All right. Okay. Sam O tells us how you can copy MacRumor's $7.8 million link building strategy. Let's check this one out.
So if you want to create pages that can passively earn links for you, consider implementing the 3 core principles of MacRumor's link earning strategy. And these core principles are scarcity, which is information on a topic that's scarce, audience amplification, meaning a pool of people interested in the topic and how you'll get it in front of them, and speed of delivery, meaning how fast can you publish and amplify that content. Let's go through a few examples of how other people are using these principles and how you can use them to passively earn high-quality links to your site. The first example is to create a changelog of industry updates. When there's a big update to an industry, journalists are usually among the first to move. They monitor company news, social media, and basically anywhere that'll give them a competitive edge. For example, news sites like Search Engine Journal and Search Engine Land are usually the first to report on Google algorithm updates. And while I'm sure they've accumulated a ton of links and shares through these posts, the biggest winner from a link perspective is likely Moz. Moz created a page that lists Google's algorithm updates all the way back to the year 2000. And to date, this page has earned well over 7,000 referring domains.
I love the industry changelog tactic, and we'll start implementing it in future strategies for my next company. Okay, our guest today spoke about hidden versus visible content on the SEO Fight Club. Let's take a peek before we talk to him today.
But then we move on. We know from testing, I think testing that I've done and a lot of other people have done, this is not, just one person. Google does index hidden content. And in fact, Google will use your hidden content for your meta descriptions, and they'll use hidden content in a snippet. So one of the things you have to be careful of if you're actually utilizing some of those things is that snippet that content, or it will show up on the page and kind of could interfere with your click-through rates and some other things. And we also know that hidden content can include other things which are ranking factors. So we know from a lot of different tests that Google utilizes things that are not visible, won't be visible, were never intended to be visible to a user.
I use CSS accordions with every company I've worked with, particularly video transcriptions under an embedded video, and using it using one of those view transcript buttons to actually unhide the text. Okay, this brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions and I will address them in the order that they were received. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell while I get things ready.
Lee is a 16-year marketing consultant online and offline using analytics database to maximize marketing ROI. He is the VP of Database Marketing Solutions, Inc. He believes that past behavior is almost always the best predictor of future behavior. His whole goal is to help you uncover the hidden profitability in your data. He loves ranking and selling websites. He has been testing SEO factors for years and is the founder of testofseotraining.com. Please welcome Lee Witcher.
Lee, my man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, man?
Good. Welcome to the show. It's been a while that I've been wanting to get you on here, and you've been doing tests ever since I've heard about testing. I mean, I believe you way back, maybe at least back in SIA days. You were doing tests for back then, right? You're doing some SIA tests?
Yeah, well, I tested once in SIA. It was actually Kyle Roof's last show. Had a test on that one.
Got it. Well, everyone, let's give everyone a round of applause for coming on the show. All right. I'm going to ask this question. When I ask this to all my SEO professionals that come on the show, my very first question, in 1 minute or less, how does Lee get ranking on page 1 of Google?
You take a look at your competition that's ranking at the top for that keyword, and then you just adjust your page, you out-tune them, and then you get sufficient off-page signals that make you a little bit better than they are. That's it.
Love it. First knowledge bomb of the day. Okay, let me go ahead and rewind this real quick. Lee, take us way back into time. How did you first get into SEO?
Well, I started in SEO a decade ago, when I say I started, I was just tinkering around. There was a lot of internet, a lot of courses, a lot of pregs. I tried all of them. I think the best year that I had in the machine, I probably made about $300. Probably spent about $2,500 making the $300, so not a good thing. But in 2018, I decided to make a serious study of SEO. With my background in testing and analytics and things like that, I'd watch one guru say, "You never, ever, ever do this." And I'd see another guru say, "You always, always, always do that." And I knew that at least one of them had to be wrong. So I wanted to apply the testing skills and the analytics skills I had. So I reached out and looked out there to see who was doing testing, saw SIA, saw a few people, and started replicating their test to see if it would hold up the way that I did it. And then, just started testing factors against each other. And all that was going great until I think it was August 1st of 2018 when Google unleashed AI. And at that point in time, the SERPs became a lot more volatile, the updates became a lot more frequent, and we had to develop different analytics techniques for dealing with all of that. So from then on, it was just a matter of unraveling how is data utilizing, or how's Google utilizing data from your websites and your backlinks and things like that. So that's been the journey.
Love it, love it. The journey's there. But take us back to like your whole database marketing solutions company. Tell us more about that. Was this related to SEO? Is this what you're doing before SEO and which led it to SEO?
It is tangentially related to SEO. It's when a lot of companies we're dealing with were catalog companies. They're offline first, and then we were there when the development of the web and people started moving their operations online, e-commerce, and those sort of things. So it was all analytics and testing back in those days, building databases, data warehouses, large data analysis for those sort of companies. So I always had those skills. But then when I was tinkering around in SEO, it never occurred to my dumb butt that, those same skills were applicable over here. I just followed everybody and said, oh, they know what they're doing. Didn't turn out to be true. But so I was doing what would be called CRO testing before it had that name. But it was done, with direct mail.
Oh.
And so that was the client base. That's where I started in the analytics side of stuff. So as things moved online, having an online presence, SEO became more and more important. CRO is certainly important in that as well. And I avoided that for a long time until I just one day said, all right, I want to do this thing.
Love it. I'm curious, since you said like direct mail, how did you actually optimize that? How do you optimize a direct mail campaign like that back in the days?
Same way you do anything else. If you did like a catalog, you could have a catalog cover photo, and catalog 1 has a picture of one thing, and catalog 2, and you send them out, to enough people that you can get the response rate you need to measure the difference between them, and then you utilize that one on the rollout to the rest of your list. So it's exactly the same thing as online, except it just takes longer.
Love it, love it. Okay, so you've gotten in, something you got into, but I mean, how'd you actually learn it? Were you actually just like you said, like we're just testing it, and that's how you actually learned it instead of following everyone? I mean, was there any like certain actual forums or anything like that back in the days that you were actually visiting?
Well, when you start, it's like everybody else. You're out there, you're listening to whoever the big names are, and you're trying some of the things. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'll go try it. Or clearly they know something I don't know because they've got the Lambo. Everybody's got the Lambo. And so, you're following their model and seeing, in my particular case, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, sometimes it would work for a little while and then not work again. And, it was just a matter of now testing what people were saying to see if it was true, who was a reliable source of information that repeated, and who was a reliable source of, new software or the new trick of the week. So yeah, it was just testing your way into it, coming at it from a data science and, sort of database direct marketing background. I didn't grow up in this industry following, all of the development of the web and the trends in SEO. So nothing made sense to me, so I could come at it crossways and approach it a little bit differently. And that's kind of where a lot of my testing has always been a little bit different than the standard. Does a keyword in an H3 move the needle or not?
Okay. So I'm curious, who are some of those people that you're testing to see if their methods actually worked back then? Like, because you said
I'm not naming names. I'm not naming names. But all of them, including, today, I would tell you that if I read John Mueller's statements with great interest.
Okay.
Because there are times when he reveals information, and there are times when he reveals something that doesn't seem, plausible given, our experience with, ranking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a great source of test information. Google says this works, so they don't do that, and then you just go and see if it does. Because really what we want to know is what information is Google utilizing and how they're utilizing it. So those are the influences. And now, not so much, we're not following any particular, I don't follow the gurus much anymore, except, if they have a new thing coming out, you always get the questions of, hey, have you heard about so-and-so's new course, training technique, whatever? Do you think it works or not? Most of the time my answer is I have no idea.
Okay. So I want to go. We'll talk about like John Mueller stuff later on and stuff that you tested, because that's going to like be an interesting conversation there. But I wanted to go into more of like, what part of SEO made you like come in? Because you started doing SEO, but for what? What was your why of doing SEO? Was it making you some good money somehow? Like, how was that why?
2 reasons. Reason number 1 is I wanted to get out of client work. Didn't want to, the clients are less fun than they ought to be. And the second thing was looking at this particular industry with so many big names contradicting each other, publicly. I knew that this industry was ripe for somebody to come in and figure out what worked and what didn't. And with my background, I know that I'm not the typical American consumer. I'm the guy that would have said, Real Housewives would have, 5 episodes and then it's canceled. And, here it is a decade and 15 spinoffs later, that, it's a multi-billion-dollar thing. I'm that guy that would have predicted just exactly the opposite. But I know that. So coming into this industry, if somebody would just sit down and systematically figure out what works and what doesn't, then they would have an advantage. And that's all you need is, to beat most people. You don't have to beat everybody, but you have to beat most. So that's what brought me here. I wanted to get out of client work, and I wanted to get into, and it was a cool puzzle. SEO is a cool puzzle.
Love it. Okay. So I wanted to get into more of like, since you have to left the client work, I mean, you obviously was doing SEO for like money, and I wanted to touch some part of affiliate SEO, because that's something that you do, right? Because all you do right now is just SEO. You do SEO for yourself, no other company, just for your own business or your hustle. Your income is all based on SEO. So can you tell us like how you started first making money?
Accidentally. The thing about it is, the first part that I just being curious, I wanted to know why some things ranked and some things didn't. And so spent a lot of time. So I was I still have some clients in the database marketing. I don't take on new ones anymore, and as they fall off, I don't replace them. But I wanted to know why stuff worked, and then just to see if I could make this rank this way or that rank that way, and so forth, and then work on monetization. You get a little bit out of it at first, but like right now, since we know that we can rank robustly just about anywhere, it's about figuring out what monetization model pays best.
Yeah.
So I am an affiliate. I am in rank and rent. I am in rank and sell. I am, looking at potentially a client model, but with me not being client facing. So it's just a matter of, which one of those, if I can rank here, there, elsewhere, which one of those pays better. That's kind of the frontier for 2022.
Love it. Show Lee the money. All right. So I want to let's get into some little tips here. Because you said you're talking about affiliate SEO, you're talking about rank and rent, or even rank and sell, and this whole non-facing thing. So let's start off with affiliate SEO. So like, if someone wants to get into affiliate SEO really quick, like what would be the first things you would have to like make sure that they get into?
It's funny, I've had 2 conversations about that this week. The first one that I do is, I don't know, most people have seen, there's research that shows, if you rank in position 1, you get a certain percent of the clicks, and in position 2 and 3, 4, on down. So if you look and say, all right, and the numbers are all a little bit different, but we can use these as approximations. If you rank organically position 1, you get 40% of the clicks, 2 is 20, 3 is 10, 4 is 5, and the rest are, 3, 2, sort of situation. If I find a keyword that I think that I can rank for, and I think that I can rank in position 1, I'm going to get 40% of that as traffic. Then if I take that number, which is the number of visitors that I'll get, and I divide it by 200, because about 1 in 200 is a fairly average conversion rate across most products till you know any better. Then that tells me, how many sales I'm going to get. You multiply that by whatever the commission is on it, and that's my potential. So I was dealing with somebody the other day at their site. They were trying to rank for a particular keyword, and we did the math. I said, okay, if you rank in position 1 and you outdo the company whose product you're trying, you're trying to outrank the manufacturer, you're going to make $16 a month. I would never have gone after that keyword. So the very first thing you have to do as an affiliate is find stuff that has the potential, if you rank and if it converts, to make you some money. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I do is I learned SEO, a lot of affiliate stuff, by trying a lot of things historically. And the general model is, pick a product you think is pretty cool. Go find a keyword that you think you can rank for. Build some sort of video or website or whatever else to monetize it. Rank it, and then the Lamborghini is just on back order. That's all. That's the whole thing with that. But what they don't tell you is, you get up to the top. You spend all this time and energy ranking that site. You get to the top. You actually do get the clicks that you think you're going to get. And you've got the killer review for, best XYZ. And you find out that that particular product doesn't sell. So now you've spent weeks, months, whatever, of energy for no reason. So now one of the things that I try to do before I go into it is figure out whether the product converts before I ever build anything. So I want to know that it has the potential to make money, and I want to know that it converts before I do anything. One of the ways you can find out if it converts is you can do pay-per-click. That tends to get expensive over time. So now I'm working with some other traffic generation strategies to see if I can utilize traffic to figure out if I can drive some traffic fairly cheaply to figure out whether the product converts or not. So I, kill losers quickly, because the other way just, it takes too long to figure out that you got it wrong.
Oh, love that. Love that. Okay. So I'm curious, what are some of these other traffic generation tactics that you're doing?
Right now I'm playing with mass sites to generate traffic, because mass sites that you can't get all your pages to rank or even index at times. But if you can get a sufficient number of them to get a traffic spurt, even if it just lasts for a week, if you can get enough, you can tell if a product works. Because it's easy to put up another mass site. You just set the software, configure it the way you need to configure it, and let it go. So they're kind of burner, but they can generate traffic, and you can utilize that.
I love that. Okay. So just test traffic by making mass pages and just driving it all to see if everything converts. Love that. Okay. So I wanted to go into, we're getting a bunch of questions on rank and sell here, or selling your websites.
Okay.
So, you guys, hopefully you found those affiliate SEO tips really, really good, because I did. I wanted to go into, let's see well, here's one. What's the most by Maddox? What's the most you sold a website for?
That I'm not going to talk about. But I'll tell you, the methodology for it is this. You have a lot of, you think of it as a website designer. If you're out there, you can sell a website sometimes for $500, for $1,500, for $5,000, whatever else it is. It depends on those sort of things. We've used websites for rank and rent, for lead gen. But there are some niches where the cost per click, cost per call is so low that they're really not worth the time and energy. But that doesn't mean it's not worth the time and energy to the people that work in those niches. So if I came to you and I said, hey, Dre, I know that you work as a whatever the niche is in this particular city. You know that ranking on page one, it brings you traffic, it makes you relevant in your local area, it brings you more business and everything else. What if you bought a website and it was already ranked on page one, or sometimes multiple properties ranked on page one? What if you just wrote me a check and we handed it over and it's yours? So they're not looking at it for the cost of a website. They already have the rankings and they don't need an SEO. That was kind of the model that we're.
Love that model. So you can actually, what you can do is you can actually, you don't even have to put a price out there. You let them dictate the price of how much is worth to them, right?
Yeah, we're trying different things to see, how it works, and it's hard because we've tried cold email. Of course, the first set of cold email we just absolutely butchered. I'm proud to say the first set of email that went out, we didn't get a single freaking reply, not one.
Oh man!
It's like, okay, so let's take a look. What do we do wrong? And then you go to 2.0, 3.0, and then we're also looking at dropping in, calls into voicemail and, even postcards, direct mail can still work in those particular things, and seeing if it's worth the time and energy. Because we know if you can find what works in a niche, you can replicate it across multiple cities. Yeah. So it's just a matter of, is it worth the time and energy? Does it take too much time to realize the return? Is it easier just to get something ranking and hook it up to something else and call it a day?
All right. So we have a question here with Santana. Where do you sell your websites? I know I guess we were doing, talk about cold emails. But how about other places that you will rank and just put it up for sale?
It's direct to the end user. We could probably do it on something, like Flippa or some of the other services, but historically, one of the things that I learned, I used to buy and sell cell phones just for giggles. It was fun to do. And what I found is that every innovation that I made in that particular thing, because you're selling it on like Craigslist or now Marketplace and things like that, everybody's watching and then they'll replicate it and then it doesn't work as well anymore. It's a lot harder to do. So if I put the model up on Flippa, other people would see it and then it wouldn't work as well. So you can't really do it in an open marketplace. You have to do it almost direct to the end user.
Oh, love that. Okay, there's one more I see here on rank and sell, which I think you might have answered this, but how do you figure out what domain to rank that will sell?
We don't know that it'll sell. That's part of the testing process. We know that we can rank it, and part of it is in local. So if you do a local search, like you search for plumber right now, I don't care where you are. If you search for plumber, you're going to get localized results, and even the first 2, 3, 4 pages of organic are going to be localized plumbers, for example. Almost all of those have a GMB and a physical presence in the city. The question is, if I was doing this in the plumbing niche, how do I bypass that filter without a GMB? And so we know that we can get into those rankings. We've ranked at the top with no GMB. So then it becomes, okay, will somebody pay for it, what it would pay to make it worth my time and energy to go and do that? So it's all about testing those monetization models. There's nothing tuned. There's no magic. It is just straight grunt work to see which industries, which models, which things, and then comparing it to other things like affiliate or rank and rent or whatever else to see what's the best use of time.
Hey man, you're testing everything. You're testing direct mail, you're testing SEO, you're testing monetization tactics. Love it. Lead a tester, love it. Okay, so we got a bunch of
cookie recipes. That's the thing. I'll test cookie recipes. I'll test anything. You name it. My wife said, make sure they know you do test everything.
Oh man. All right, so we're getting a bunch of questions come here. Viral Cloud asks, what's the mass site software plugin do you prefer?
I don't have a preference. I reached out to a friend who recommended Traffic Factory as one that that I use right now. It's easy to configure. It's easy to get what I need out of it. It doesn't have all the capabilities I would like. I've looked at some others, and they don't necessarily have exactly what I would want or need to configure. But just playing, and seeing what it can be used for. I do not intend to use the software for like mass lead gen or anything else, but it can be used for linking strategies. It can be used for testing strategies, maybe if we can solve getting enough of it, sufficient volume of those pages indexed. If you can get enough of those indexed, then you can get back the signals that you need. If you can't, then we'll use it for something else.
Love it. Okay, we have one here from Hobby. He asks, is affiliate good for an SEO in movie industry?
I think there's two questions there. One is, if you can rank, I don't care, all monetization models can work. But the question about whether a specific niche or a specific product or a specific industry works, that depends on who the end users are and what they're willing to pay for the product, the service, the click, the call, whatever it is that you're selling in that. That's something that you just have to test and see. So I can't tell you one industry versus another, but that's what I try to do, is just, okay, let's poke in there and see what we get. Oh, it's something good or it's something bad, and then just let that be the decision-making criteria.
Love it. Killing it over here. Okay, so I want to actually, before I forget, because I want to ask this one question, because you were talking about ranking set websites and stuff like that and doing affiliate. How about like AdSense? Were you like ranking any like sites for like AdSense? Would you go after like those high cost per click keywords and rank these websites?
I accidentally the other day, somebody was joking about a particular niche, and it's one of these niches that has well over $100 cost per click.
Yeah.
And I jumped in, ran some reports, and looked at it, and I said, this doesn't look that hard to rank in, so I might actually try an AdSense site. I have a couple of friends that said, yeah, I used to do that, and I've got another gentleman who makes over 6 figures a year off his AdSense sites. And I'm like, how exactly are you doing that? He's like kind of shared his thought process on it. And I was like, that's replicable. I might, play with that a little bit too. Some niches might be set up better for that. So not yet, but it's on the docket.
Love it. Love it. I mean, I personally was once kind of looking into that because I've been working in enterprise SEO for quite some time, and just looking at how much these tech companies are paying for keywords. It's ridiculous. I'm like, wait a minute, I think I could actually rank for that. I'm like, when I was doing like this research and just seeing what other companies are bidding on, it's pretty crazy. All right, so
we should talk after the show then. All
right, yeah. Okay, so we want to go back to the questions here in the live chat. We have one here from D Kid. I want to create 2,000 pages in bulk using AI spun content to find easy keywords before coming back and improving. Any tips? Should I drip them out slowly or release them all at once? It's a DR30 plus site.
Okay, right now in the testing that I've done, I can't tell you whether it's better to drop a bunch out there, drip them out there. That's kind of where we're trying to figure out. There was some research that was done recently by Carolyn Holzman on indexing. She had followed indexing for now over 7 months and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. So she found some techniques that worked, and I was like, okay, let's see how well they work on mass sites. So the mass site research that we've done is, I don't know, less than 6 weeks old. So we're just in the infancy of that. So we really don't have a good feel for what's the best methodology for doing any of that. So sorry.
That's still a knowledge bomb right there. I love that. Okay, so I want to go into, here's one from VitalClout before we go back into what I had planned here. So have you tested auto-generated AI content for ranking websites?
Yes. And the thing that I smile about is everybody's looking for the push button solution.
Yeah.
Right. I bought this software and I pushed the button and it gave me the content and it ranked number one, and I don't have to do anything. Right now, I've got friends that play in all sorts of different content generation tools and things like that. And we're all in agreement that you have to take that and you have to tune it. It's not going to come out perfect. So I personally use Jasper, but it needs a lot of direction to get the content that I need. And then that output, I go through and I SEO tune it. It doesn't come out tuned the way that I would want. So, and yeah, it works, it ranks. But you can rank with lorem ipsum or just random gibberish in spite of what Google says. It just doesn't convert. That's the problem with that. So yes, you can use it. And I know that there's a lot of interest in that because of the article that dropped a couple of days ago talking about Google considers AI generated content spam. So
All right. So Jasper is something that you're using, guys. Okay. All right. I want to go into, what we wanted to talk about here, which is SEO ranking factors, stuff that, I'm curious on what things have you tested that you heard John Mueller say, because you were talking about it earlier, you love listening to John Mueller and you use it as testing. What are some, give us maybe 5 if you can, 5 things John Mueller says that are debunked by Lee Witcher.
all right, so there was an article that came out today that I was smiling about. They actually called out the use of gibberish for testing and said that it leads to invalid test results. The fun thing about it is for the last 3 years, I've been using gibberish to not only test, but gibberish on live sites to rank, just as tests, not to try to convert them or anything. And that is the algorithm. There's not a special algorithm for gibberish words and real words. They treat them differently. I believe Google treats them differently. Based on John Mueller's statements, there's two types of search. One is where they have to go and physically do a text search. You put in a keyword, something they've never heard before. You come up with a new process. It's called dreification, and you start to do some articles. And then people start searching, what is dreification? Google's never heard of this thing. There's not a big corpus of documents on it, so they have to do a text search and find documents that actually have that term in it. But for the most searched keywords, there seems to be a curated subset of the web that they can search fast. Those pages seem to give you the most robust. So all the different variations of searches. So plumber near me, what kind of plumber, emergency plumber, plumber Cleveland, those sort of things can all come out of a much smaller, much faster search thing. So there's 2 types of search, and they have different ways of dealing with them, but that doesn't mean that gibberish doesn't rank or that it's not a valid SEO test, because we can take what we learned from gibberish testing and translate it into real world rankings consistently. The laboratory testing isn't the end of it. You have to take it out in the real world and see if it gets its butt kicked or if it actually is useful. So that's one thing. Ted Kabitis and I don't know, it was a year or so ago, we're having a discussion debate on how many keywords you could have a single page rank for. Can you rank? Is it one keyword, one page, or is it a tightly themed cluster of keywords, or what? So we decided that we needed to write a 1,000,000-word blog post. So we did that. We got 180,000 keywords indexed off of it. So what it meant from that test is there is no practical limit that Google imposes upon it, but there may be a topically themed limit. So you're not going to have a page that ranks for both plumber Cleveland and bicycle tires. It's just not going to work that way. So there's some testing like that. A lot of testing dealing with interactions between factors. Do you have to have agreement in certain zones of your page and things like that? Those have been fun. And zones, just the limits.
Speaking of zones, can you explain to the audience, if you're talking about zones for someone that doesn't understand?
Okay. The various tags that you have on a page, your title tag is, one zone. Your meta tag, is another zone, a meta description. Your H tags and, your paragraph content and things like that are all different zones of the page. They all carry different weight. They're all evaluated in different ways. And sometimes there's interactions between those two and sometimes there isn't. So those kind of tests to see, if I can write half the page about one topic and half the page very tightly themed on another topic, can I get them, to do it? But then there's also stupid tests like, there was an argument about whether stop words are used by Google. And even Google has flip-flopped in their statements on this. So I wrote an entire article using nothing but stop words and a keyword.
Mm-hmm.
And if stop words are ignored, all you're left with is the 5 keyword mentions that I had in the article. But all the articles that I created using nothing but stop words ranked. So Google doesn't ignore stop words.
Oh.
It's just statements like that that you look at and say, I wonder if that's true or not.
What's one more? Give us one more.
Let's see. All right. So because a lot of people right now are having trouble with indexation, I will tell you that YouTube, dropping your links in the description field makes a wonderful indexer. There, just.
Oh man. Yeah. That's a bomb right there, guys. All right. So I want to go into, we have a question here. By Stefan. Hi, Lee. What link building tactics do you prefer to use?
So number one question I get from people that are talking to me about like the training that I do is, do you like PBNs? Do you like guest posts? Do you like, all the gamut? I don't care. That's the thing. I don't care. I'm looking for specific things from my links. The tactic doesn't matter to me.
Oh.
I would use guest posts like PBNs, Web2s, Twitter tweets, YouTube videos, all can work if you structure them properly. So I don't have a preference.
All right, so let's take this a little further. So how do you structure them, or like what are these things, preferences that you look for within these links?
Let's say that if you hear the concept of a relevant link, if they're relevant, they're fine, but it extends beyond just the linking page. It goes deeper than that. And so you can create that anywhere, or you can find it in a lot of places. So there are times when, I've wondered, this has not been a tested thing, but a theoretical discussion. Can I replicate the impact of a Forbes link with a Fiverr blast?
Interesting.
And so those sort of trade-offs, when you're understanding sort of what is underneath, what's driving, the power and the, whatever you call it, the juice, the relevance, the power, the whatever it is that it's transferring, that's moving the needle, can you do it? How many different ways can you do it? What are the actual mechanics that Google's evaluating? And so, at times I do try to replicate some of the bigger links with spammy links or spammy link clusters to see if I can get the same effect for a lot less money.
How's that been coming along?
I haven't had any problems with it.
Love it. All right, guys. We have here Power Matters. Good show, gentlemen. And Lee, too. Smiley face. All right. Okay, so I wanted to go into something also to talk about this because, this is something that I've seen that you actually have your own course, your own testing group, or, something that you've actually educate others on. And you're very selective on it. This is something that, you pick people. Can you tell people more about your, from all the like the tests that you do and stuff like that? Tell us more about this course that you have going on here.
All right. There were a few of us that got kind of in trouble or in a little hot water a year or so ago. We were on, I think it might have been on SEO Fight Club. There were a few testers on, and some people asked, what percentage of your test results do you publish? And, a lot of the testers were like, 50%, 30%, 20%. And I was like, less than 5% for me. I test a lot and I don't publish a lot. And people are like, what? And so all the stuff that I utilize to rank, I decided one day to put into a training. And it's 8 weeks of training with me, with the group, where I lay out all the principles and the tactics and the tests that back them up. And I just have you go do them on your own sites. And argue with the results. Don't argue with me. Be skeptical of me. Don't believe a thing I tell you. Just go do it and see what happens. And that's been the difference. And I need certain types of people in there. I don't take new people. They don't have enough background for it. But you don't have to be, a 10-year enterprise level SEO either. I'm just looking for people who are strong and looking to level up. And I can tell you that most of the time, like the last training that we just completed this past week, 2/3 of the people were repeating it from before. They paid to do it again because I throw a lot of people. And so if people are interested in that, they can reach out to, they can go to test@seotraining.com. They'll reach out to me on Skype. We'll set up a time to talk and see if I'm right for you and if you're right for me. That's the thing. But it's the playbook that I use to rank. It's not something that's going to go away. It's not a series of tactics that 3 months from now won't work. It's an understanding and of a lot of how the Google algorithm works. And it will make a lot of the things that you've seen in your own SEO and your own experience make sense now. It kind of ties the pieces together for a lot of folks.
Love it, guys. TestedSEOtraining.com, right? That's TestedSEOtraining.com. Be sure to check that out. And if you want to learn more and learn like everything that leads like tested and learn from that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask them. Like, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the live chat right now, because I'm gonna go ahead and ask my last question. So Lee, I always ask this question for everyone that comes on here. Like, if someone wants to get into the SEO game, to get in the SEO industry, what would your advice be to them?
I can tell you exactly what I did. My wife has been in construction for 30 years, and last year I talked her to coming into SEO and out of the hard industry. And so she started learning last January. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that I did was I showed her how to be a tester. And so she could go and test her own stuff. And she was learning the methodologies that I teach in the training, but I also let her have access to only a couple of people. I wouldn't let her in the SEO groups. I wouldn't let her have access to other people's courses or anything else because, I just wanted good foundational stuff. So if you're going to start in SEO, or if you've been in SEO for a while and are frustrated with the results, start testing. Learn how to test. Learn how to go and verify for yourself. There's nothing more powerful than hearing, Dre says I should do this. And I wonder if that's true. Well, don't wonder. Go structure a test, see for yourself that it works, and then, know whether Dre knows what he's talking about or he's full of it, and that is the fastest way, because then you have knowledge that other people, I watch people argue about this stuff in the different forums and things like that. And I don't even bother to get into it anymore, because SEO is more like a religion now than a science. Everybody's doing belief-based because so-and-so said, or Google said, or in my experience, or whatever else. Nobody's listening. Nobody's bringing a lot of data to it. So don't get caught up in all that. Just go learn to test.
Love it. All right. So I didn't say anything else coming on here. I mean, I know I usually ask people to sing or play music and stuff like that on here. Mm-hmm. I was like, I asked you earlier if you played any music, but you did it. But you said you had an interesting story for us to tell. What's the story about you singing?
All right. So in terms of, my wife told me to tell this. She said, in terms of testing everything, a lot of times when we go out to dinner, and different places, doesn't matter whether it's a fast food place, a really nice restaurant, sometimes the server will make a mistake and he or she will say, is there anything else I can do for you? And I usually look at him and say, yeah, how about a song? And my wife, when we first started, she was looking at me like horrified, but then a good percentage of the time the server will actually sing.
Whoa, really?
And then the people around them will clap, and their tips are better and everything else. And we have here in Oklahoma City, where I live, we have a couple of really good schools of performing arts that are nationally known. So you get people that can belt stuff out. They're going to American Idol. You stumble upon that. And sometimes it's just a standard server who will just, what do you want to hear? What's your favorite song? What do you sing well? Oh, I like this song. Well, let's hear it. And then they just sing it. So I do test everything, and that's kind of the thing. But my personal singing voice is make you wish for death, really.
Love that. Okay. So we have one more question that snuck in here by Terry. Terry asks, what's the ideal keyword density for a blog?
I love that question. I know Terry's poking the bear here. So Terry, see you, man. You hear a lot, and we've done SEO Fight Clubs on this, where you hear the don't go over 2%. Don't go over 2%. And you can see just by looking at the top 10 ranking pages in most industries that those pages are between 5 and 12%. In testing, we've gone up to keyword density of 95% and had it rank.
Wow.
So, there's no algorithmic penalty that we've been able to find, and it's not for lack of trying. I've pushed things just in all kinds of different ways, both from on-page things that you should never do to link building schemes that you should never do, and I can't get sites penalized doing most of it. So,
love it. And you'll never know if you don't test it, right?
People think. Yeah, exactly. You don't know if you don't test it.
All right, guys. Lee, can you hold on really quick right before the second sign off right here quick? All right, guys. That concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!